Welcome to Roadtrip WDW. I'm your host, Rebecca Schlau. This is episode 16, and I'll be continuing the discussion of our vacation. So this is part 2 of our trip, and on today's show, we start with heading to the Grand Floridian. Pulling up to the Grand Floridian to check in just feels luxurious. As you're driving up, you just see this beautiful architecture, these white buildings, and it really just seems so nice. Now, we didn't stay in the main hotel building. We stayed in the Disney Vacation Club villas, and so we had a little bit different experience than other people who check in at the Grand Floridian would have. We checked in a separate building. It wasn't too far away, but it was nice that we kind of had our own private check-in spot with our own private drive-up area. So we got out, and it wasn't very late because we had just checked out of the Dolphin. So we're talking, it was probably 11:30, 11:15, something around there. And of course, our room wasn't ready. We didn't expect it to be, but we wanted to go ahead and put our names down that, hey, we're waiting and we're ready. I loved walking into this because the lobby, it's beautiful. It's really cute. I mean, it's not this grand, momentous lobby, but it is very nice. There's a little fountain with some penguins from Mary Poppins. They also had this really great coffee machine. It wasn't a Keurig. It was, I don't know if it was Nescafe. It was something, but it was great. And they had some kids' movies playing with little kid chairs. So if you had to wait, it'd be a cozy place to wait. We decided not to wait around there. We decided to go ahead and go grocery shopping. And even though we knew it'd be several hours before check-in, that's okay. Disney does allow you to come back, and you can bring even your cold stuff to Bell Services, and they'll put it in the freezer or fridge for you, and they will bring it up to you when your room is ready. So we went down to a Publix, which is not too far out of the Disney World gates. I mean, from the Grand Floridian, we did have to drive several miles, but it didn't feel like a long time because the Publix is only, 4 or 5 miles outside of Disney World gates, and when you're driving there, you get to look at everything. So when I'm really entertained while driving, it never feels far away, even though it may have been actually closer to like 9 miles, but it didn't feel very far away. The Publix there, we love Publix, so it was nice to find this Publix. We'd always gone to this other marketplace before, but it had shut down. So we went in and got our groceries. We got a few last minute things that we needed, maybe some water shoes, some flip-flops. They had a lot of Disney merchandise there. It'd be a great place to buy a few souvenirs, actually, or to grab some mouse ears. Eventually, I did go back to this Publix and grab a set of Minnie Mouse ears, like a little headband type. So after we got our groceries, and I think we headed on down to lunch. I think we ate at a place called Pollo Tropical. Now, it's fast food, so we didn't stay in too long, so I wasn't too worried about our cold groceries getting too hot. So it's a fast food place that is typically only in Florida. It's amazing though. It's like Caribbean style food, so you get a lot of chicken that's grilled, and you can see it being grilled, and all these vegetables and rice and beans and plantains and all these delicious sauces. My favorite was like there's a garlicky sauce that can go on your chicken and your pork. They have like shredded pork with vegetables. And they also had this new sauce, like curry mustard, which made all your food kind of taste like Indian food. It was so good. We love Pollo Tropical. So if you get a chance, stop there. It is totally worth it. And it's a fast food place, so it's great. It's the best fast food you'll ever eat. It does not taste like fast food. It's so good. So anyway, we load on back and get to the Grand Floridian. Our room still wasn't ready, but we were able to check all our bags in at Bell Services and check all our cold stuff. We decided to walk around just a little bit, and we saw the pool, and in the lobby they have all these big elaborate sculptures in glass cases that are made out of chocolate. So I thought that was kind of neat. So we just walked around a little bit, but sure enough, our room finally got ready, and we went up to our 1 bedroom villa. So our room was essentially a condo. It had a kitchen area with a seating area in the kitchen. It had in the den, it had, TV, pull out couch bed. It even had like a pull down little Murphy bed from the underneath the TV. It was like a console table that pulled down into an extra bed. So really you could have had 3 kids sleeping in there fine. Had a balcony that connected from the den to the master bedroom. The master bedroom had a king size bed, a big walk-in closet, and the walk-in closet was big enough where we actually put the pack and play, our son's portable crib. That became his bedroom. So we didn't use it much for its closet functionality, but we did use it for a little bedroom. It has 2 areas of the bathroom, which I thought was genius. It had one vanity area with the big soaking tub, and in this vanity area you have really long mirror stretching out pretty much the length of the bathroom. It also had a little TV that's kind of like in the mirror. So while you're getting ready, while you're in the tub, you could be watching Disney. So that was really neat. And the other section, you go through another door and they have a shower, another vanity area and the toilet, and some more storage for your stuff. So it was really great. And then there's a little hallway with a washer and dryer, a little closet for a vacuum cleaner, any cleaning supplies that you may need. Because one of the things during a DVC villa stay, you're not going to have housekeeping every day. Now they come in every once in a while to take out the trash, and that's about it. They don't officially clean. I think they clean like once a week or once every 5 days, something like that. So you can't really expect them to clean up after you. So if you make a big mess, you have your things there to clean up after you. The fridge is big enough for all the things you may need. We thought the kitchen was well stocked. There was plenty of storage, even though we didn't really use our closet as much as most people. We did hang up a few things, and we did put our huge suitcases back in there. But there was storage in random places, like in the dividing wall between the kitchen seating area and the den near the couch. There's actually little cubbies that you pull out from the wall. We didn't even know that until towards the end of our trip. They also have some ottomans that open up and you can store some things in there too. So we loved our balcony as well. It was a pretty long balcony that stretched from the den to the bedroom, so you could go out either way. We didn't have the most amazing view of the water. We did have a little bit of a view of the water and kind of the back of the hotel pathway towards the pool. You couldn't really see the pool or anything, but you could hear the back of the slide. But it was fine. You could see the monorail, and just having a little bit of a view of the monorail coming and going, plus a little bit of the water, it was just wonderful. It was a nice place to relax in the evening or have your morning coffee. My husband loves porches because he likes to pop open a few beers in the evening and just sit back and relax. And it is definitely a great spot for that. It's also a great place to dry your clothes. Now, the Grand Floridian is pretty expensive. There's no need to hide that. It's very expensive. And by renting the DVC points, we were able to save a ton of money than we would have paid had we gone through Disney to rent this same exact condo. Now, since we didn't go through Disney to make the initial reservation, we ended up having to link the reservation into the Disney system, into My Disney Experience. We still got all of our perks. We still got to make our fast passes 60 days in advance, our dining 6 months in advance. So it was fine. It works the same, but we had a lot more space, and we were very thankful for it. It was amazing. We did go check out the pool, which was very close to the DVC villas. It was just a very short walk. They have a cute slide, which my kids love. They have a waterfall area, and that's kind of the main kid pool there. They have a cute little like staircase that goes over the mouth of the slide, so you can kind of take some pictures up there of your kids coming down the slide. It was nice. It was well run. It wasn't a huge pool, but it was a great size. They had plenty of seating area. They had a little bar out there, so you could sit back and maybe watch a game and have a drink while also keeping an eye on the kids at the pool. During the day at this pool, they do offer like pool games. So they have like Disney bingo, and a few other interesting games with little prizes. I say little prizes, but you know what? I'm pretty sure that one of the prizes was like a boat rental at the marina there at the Grand Floridian. So, I mean, these prizes can be pretty amazing. So, force your kids to do the poolside bingo during the middle of the day. And, I mean, it is during the middle of the day. It's like 3 or 4 or 2, 3 or 4, something like that. Anyway, the pool is connected to another little area, like a splash pad area. And there is some gates separating. These aren't together. You'll have to walk over to this section, but it's right behind it, or right in between the main pool and the main building. There is this splash pad area, and it is adorable. It's, I think, an Alice in Wonderland themed splash pad area, and you can actually see this from the monorail, and this is one of the selling features for me, honestly. When I was on the monorail several years ago, in the last few years, I would look down at the Grand Floridian's pool and splash pad area and say, that is amazing. I want to go there. Because in this splash pad area, they have one of the Mad Hatter's big hat that dumps out water, but they also have a few little kiddie slides in this area, perfect for toddlers. And they're supposed to have like a height restriction. So big kids aren't supposed to be able to play. We did see some bigger kids play in this area. And truthfully, I don't think my older daughter should have been allowed to play in this area. But they didn't police it too hard. And no one was running crazy or anything. So it really wasn't a big deal. But this splash area became my 2-year-old's favorite spot. And we had a lot of fun there too. My girls did too. They actually met some little kid friends, and they all would splash around and have some little kid adventures. My son loved going down the little slides there. He just cracked up. And because it's so shallow, you don't have to worry as much about drowning. I mean, obviously you have to keep an eye on your kids the whole time, but there was enough water for it to be fun, but not so much water where he had to wear his floaties. So we really enjoyed that. And you could sit back on some chairs and just kind of watch your kids in this area too. And again, it's contained from the other pool area. So in a way I love that even better, because all the kids in the splash area are contained. We didn't have to worry about my son, sneaking away without his floaties on. It was all gated, which was very nice. They also have a beachy area right there behind the pools towards the lagoon, with some chairs kind of set up on the beachy area. Now, you can't actually put your feet or anything in the water. They have that roped off very heavily with netting and some rocks. So at this point with the Grand Floridian, you don't have to worry too much about your kids getting in the water. It is roped off. And it seems really nice. It'd probably be nice at night. Every time we walked by the beach area during the day, it seemed really hot, and there were a lot of bees, like, I don't know, beachy bees, like bees that just wanted to hang out on the sandy areas. So that evening, we checked out the pool, we got ready and went to dinner, and we decided to go to 1900 Park Fair. I had tried desperately to get this reservation for a few weeks without any luck until just a few days before, and the reservation did open up. And this is for dinner. And for dinner at 1900 Park Fair, which is a character buffet, and it's at the Grand Floridian, the theme at night is a Cinderella theme, which is perfect because my middle daughter, had just started really watching Cinderella a lot. She was really fascinated by Cinderella and Prince Charming, and we were just really excited because we get to meet Cinderella, Prince Charming, the evil stepsisters, and the evil stepmom. So Lady Tremaine, Drusilla, and Anastasia. And I hear that they have really good character interactions, which is great. Now, when we go, we never really care about character interactions, or at least we haven't, because we just like to get our picture and be done. But apparently they had good character interactions, so we were excited to see. Check-in to 1900 Park Fair was very easy. You could not see characters or go look at characters without actually having a reservation. So there's no way to sneak in or sneak a peek, really. They sat us down, and what I'm going to say about 1900 Park Fair is I was blown away by how good the food was. And this is a character buffet, so I wasn't expecting anything. My favorite eatery buffet sort of thing in Disney World was Tusker House at Animal Kingdom because it has some more interesting, unique flavors, some Indian food, things like that. But this food was amazing. And they had a lot of different types of food. So they had some Italian food, they had some Asian inspired food. They had, of course, your typical, hot dogs, chicken nuggets, but they had like turkey meatballs for kids, macaroni. They had amazing salad selection, like different types of salad. I had a caprese salad. I enjoy that. They had just so many different random food options, like so many good stuff. And the desserts were great. They even had a bowl of gummy bears, so if you didn't want whatever dessert was, you could just have gummy bears, which is exactly what my son did. He had a big bowl of gummy bears, and I actually took a napkin full of those gummy bears back because he really liked them. But I will say that the character interactions were great. Prince Charming was very handsome, and my middle daughter was ecstatic to take her picture with him. She had all these scenarios of what she was going to say to him when she did see him, but she wasn't able to brave up and talk about how handsome he was or any of that. But I made sure to get a picture of just him and her, and she really appreciated that. Cinderella was very sweet. The main draw with characters here are going to be the step family, though. Drizella and Anastasia are funny. They're good actresses, and they play their part. Now, they're not going to be mean, though. I noticed that. They're more playful and teasing, but they're not going to be mean like maybe they are in the cartoon, so you don't have to worry about that. Now, the stepmom, Lady Tremaine, she's hardcore. I mean, she doesn't break character. She's not going to be nice to you. I mean, she's not going to be unpleasant, but she is going to be firm and kind of cold, but she's helpful. Like, she actually put a ring out in front of my son to get him to kind of look my way, but it was funny because she was just like deadpan talking and was very kind of cold and distant, but it was hilarious, y'all. It was so funny. It fit right in for the meet and greet and for the picture, so it was perfect. We really enjoyed 1900 Park Fair. If you get a chance, I would definitely advise it. They do have a different sort of character group during lunchtime or during breakfast, I believe. I think it's more like, oh, who is it? Mary Poppins and maybe Bert, Alice and from Alice in Wonderland, maybe even Pooh Bear. It's some kind of crazy like that. It's like a random spread of like maybe British characters, but it would be great. I would have loved to go, but dinner would have worked out best for us, and also with my daughter's fascination with Cinderella, this was perfect. After dinner, we'd already kind of gotten ourselves dressed up. We'd gotten ourselves nice looking, and we took a few pictures around the grounds of the Grand Floridian, walked around. It's beautiful. It is perfect for family pictures. This would be I could really see us in the future doing professional photography in this area. They have beautiful gardens to walk through. They also have another bigger pool, and it's more centered and in between the main building, and it doesn't have a slide or anything, but it's one of those zero entry pools where you don't have to like jump in. You could just walk right in. I guess most pools these days seem to be like that. This pool also had the hot tub. The other pool closest to us did not. They also have some games that are kind of in the yard, like a big Connect 4 game and maybe some other little kind of yard toys. It seems like they keep in that area. They have a marina you can walk by, which is beautiful. There's also a few other things to check out, like some restaurants. They have like a grill, like a quick service that has a little bitty mini bakery in it. They also have Narcoossee's, which is a restaurant that kind of overlooks the water. And they just have this setting, which is beautiful because they're located right on the Seven Seas Lagoon. Like, you can look over the water and see Cinderella's castle. You can see the Magic Kingdom. It is gorgeous just to walk around and look. They also offer a a ferry service to the Magic Kingdom. So you don't have to catch a bus or monorail or anything like that. You simply just go over by boat, which is a great way to travel. Now, I think if you're going to the Magic Kingdom, you have to stop by and pick up people from the Polynesian right next door, but then you go over to Magic Kingdom. But when you come back from Magic Kingdom, if you don't want to get in that line for that huge monorail, you can just wait in line for the resort ferry, and it will take you straight there to Grand Floridian. And if you time it just right, you don't really have to do much waiting. And I much prefer the ferry to monorail just because it's nice. It's like another little ride because you get to ride on the boat, and the air just, it's beautiful. My husband ended up taking my son back to get ready for bed, I believe, and I took my girls to go look and explore in the lobby. And this lobby is amazing. It's beautiful. It's very grand, of course. They have a band playing in the evenings, and it's so good. And they will play different Disney songs. I mean, and people camp out to listen to it. So people checking into the resort can be kind of serenaded. But also, I mean, you'll see people with drinks in their hands sitting on these plush couches just listening to the Grand Floridian lobby band, and they are a sight to see. There was one evening that I heard them playing Grim Grinning Ghost. That's the Haunted Mansion theme song practically, and that blew my mind. I mean, because they're playing it on in an orchestra sort of instruments, and I only caught a little bit of it. I actually ended up going down one of the days after that and requested it, and so they played me a full version, and it was kind of one of the last songs they played, and I do have it on video. I may be able to share that with you. So anyway, we're walking around the lobby. We do see the souvenir areas where you can buy souvenirs, the little Disney gift shop. There's also Basin, I believe that's what it's called. It is a high-end sort of bath shop where you have a lot of bath bombs and soaps and bath salts. We had a really fun time just kind of playing around the store, smelling all the good stuff. I was able to take back some bath salts because I was really looking forward to trying out the huge tub at the Grand Floridian, and that's eventually what we did. I think I ended up taking the girls not swimming, just for a little bit before the pool closed, but then once we got all the kids bathed and settled down, then it was time for everyone else to settle down and for Mommy to get a bath. And one of my favorite parts of this room was this huge soaking tub. I'm a big fan of baths. I am not a big fan of bathtubs in hotels only because it seems nasty. I especially don't like bathtubs that are jetted in hotels because to me that's just nasty. I know how hard it is to clean jetted tubs, and so I get kind of freaked out about that. So anytime I go anywhere, I pretty much clean the tub down. Like if I know I'm going to take baths and my kids are going to be taking baths in this tub, I will get out this little bitty travel can of Lysol. I will spray it. I will wash it down. I will get it thoroughly cleaned up to my standards because I'm going to be laying in this thing and I don't want other people's nastiness. And what I read on the tub, they have some instructions because there's a jetted feature. The jetted feature is at the bottom of the tub. So it's like bubbles will be bubbling up instead of like from the side. And I wasn't too thrilled about that. But then I realized that they said after you get out of the tub for about a minute, it goes through a drying process to dry out those internal, air coils or something like that to get all the water out so that it doesn't get all festering, moldy nastiness. So it kind of cleans itself in between each use, which I was really shocked and impressed with that. That was perfect. So I draped a few towels over the side of the tub. I filled it up with really nice hot water. I poured my bath salts in. I turned on the TV that I can see from the mirror. And y'all, this was my night every single night of this trip. I soaked in that tub and it was amazing. This tub, I need this tub. I want this tub. It's amazing. I want it for my house. I did use the bubbles a few times, which were pretty interesting. I'm fine just soaking in hot water. I really don't need bubbles. When I get in a hot tub, I don't need to turn the jets on. That's not me. But it was perfect. Something I never realized that I would enjoy doing. I ended up soaking in this tub every night and watching those newer Mickey Mouse cartoons that are a very different style. It's been compared to in the past from one of my favorite podcasters, and me too. I kind of got this idea too. They seem more like Ren and Stimpy cartoons. Like the drawing is more primitive. It's not the detailed Mickey, Minnie, Goofy, Donald cartoons that we remember from our kids. It's a different style. And so I was kind of turned off by them. But since I was in Disney World, I was like, well, this is on. It's already on the TV. I'm just going to watch these Mickey Mouse cartoons, which I usually don't watch cartoons at home. I really don't. But I ended up cracking myself up. These cartoons are hilarious. I highly advise all you parents to check out the new Mickey and Minnie cartoons. They're really funny. They're really funny, and there's no way the kids get some of the jokes, but it was hilarious. So every night I would turn to my Mickey cartoons and soak in my tub, and that's how I ended my day. And it was a perfect way to end the day. When we first arrived at the Grand Floridian, we did have one hiccup. The refrigerator didn't seem like it was getting cold enough. We ended up having maintenance come up, and they came up very promptly. They came up right away. And it turns out we think it was just kind of overloading the system, putting all this new stuff in. The fridge just didn't have time to cool off, and it was just kind of struggling to keep up. But it eventually did cool off, and we didn't have any other problems. I didn't find any ants in a condo. And for some reason, when you go to Florida, there's always little ants everywhere, it seems like. Luckily, Disney does a really good job with keeping bugs under control, and the Grand Floridian is no exception. So I thought the rooms were very clean. I really enjoyed having a washer and dryer right there because we went through so much clothes. We were filthy. I mean, we changed clothes at least twice a day, at least, and sometimes more, especially if we had a certain outfit we wanted to wear. So we changed clothes a lot. It was nice having a dryer to dry towels and dry your swimsuits, things like that. We didn't have to worry about bringing any beach towels. They do have beach towels available there at the pools, and they did have towels at the Grand Floridian to use. They had plentiful towels, but we were able to wash them too as our week went on. So I really love the Grand Floridian. It was an amazing hotel, and I'm so glad that we stayed. And there's just little things to do, little nooks and crannies of this hotel. Like a lot of the Disney World hotels, there's little nooks and crannies. We found this one porch area. I believe it was probably more of a smoking porch, like a cigar porch, but no one was out there. And it overlooked kind of the pool splash pad area, and it overlooked like when the monorail is coming and going. And in the evening, we took a few pictures out there, and I just thought it was lovely. And it's almost like this is exactly what I saw in the Disney World travel commercials. You see the monorail pulling up to the Grand Floridian. I mean, it felt like we were living this dream. We were living this commercial, and it was beautiful. I can't say enough good stuff about the Grand Floridian. It was great. They do have, the monorail. You get on the monorail to go to Magic Kingdom. You have to go through security, but security is very easy there because they're just like a few guys that are running it. They do check it pretty thoroughly, but because it's just mainly people from the Grand Floridian getting on the monorail, you don't have to wait in a huge line to do that. And you're able to get on a monorail right then and there, and the next stop will be your Magic Kingdom. And on the way back, though, the problem is on the monorail on the way back, it has to take several different stops before it actually gets back to the Grand Floridian because it's going to be the last in line at that point. So you'll have to stop at Magic Kingdom. Then on the way back, you have to stop at the Contemporary. You have to stop at the Transportation and Ticket Center. You have to stop at the Polynesian, and then you get back to the Grand Floridian. So on the way back, that's when I always advise, if you can catch a ferry, catch a ferry. If not, it's still fine. We're still able to roll our huge double stroller on and off, which was our main concern, and that's what we were able to do. And we loved being able to do that. It was nice. It was nice being so close to the Magic Kingdom. I mean, what an advantage being so close and pretty much strolling off and on the monorail, being right there. We didn't have to factor in 45 minutes or an hour of travel time to get to the Magic Kingdom, which usually you have to do. You have to factor in a lot of time. You have to wait for a bus, and you have to, just hope it's not full. But like the monorail is always running. There's always one. We never had to wait more than a few minutes for a monorail. One of the problems is that the monorails do break down occasionally, or they stall, or they have maintenance issues, and they're just so focused on safety that they'll shut it all down if there's even a screw loose, which is fine. It's really not a big deal. But when the monorail's not working, it's very inconvenient. So there's a few times where we had to get bussed around. We had to get bussed once to Magic Kingdom, and we had to get bussed once to even Epcot. So in order to get to Epcot, you can use the monorail, but you have to ride the monorail from the Grand Floridian to the Transportation and Ticket Center. So you have to go through a few stops to get there. Once you get to the Transportation and Ticket Center, you get off the monorail, and then you go down the ramp and back up this kind of back ramp to the Epcot monorail. So you still get to ride the monorail there, but it's not like a direct path. One of the major hassles that they will be changing, I hear, soon, is that you'll have to go back through security once you get to Epcot. It really didn't bother us too bad. Again, we were just happy to not have to fold up our double stroller. Now, we did have to fold up our double stroller when we did the Epcot bus. We had to take it seems like we took the resort monorail to Transportation Ticket Center, but then the Epcot monorails were closed down completely. So from the Ticket and Transportation Center, we had to get on a bus. We had not prepared for this, y'all. We have a huge stroller that is full of stuff. I mean, we throw so much in there, whether it's sunscreen or ponchos or extra clothes. And we do have things in bags, so if we have to get out, like when we go through security, we always have to take the bags out so they can check it. So we have things in bags that are easy to take out, but it's just a pain. It's just a pain in the rear. It's hard to wrangle 3 kids into the bus with a huge stroller, but it is what it is. We had to do it. It did hinder us from getting right at Epcot at opening, which is rope drop, and we ended up not getting there in time to get in line for Soarin', which is what I wanted to do. And so our plans, there's a bit of a hiccup, and it was very frustrating. It is not Disney's fault by any means at all, and I know it's not Disney's fault. I would have liked for them to tell us ahead of time at one of the monorail stops if it was possible that we were going to have a change in our Epcot transportation issue. That would have been nice, but overall, it's not their fault. I also went back to at Epcot during our Epcot day, which was the very next day after check-in. Once we arrived at Epcot, at some point when we had a break, I went back to the customer relations building. I can't remember what it's called, but I went over there and just asked if the monorails were going to be back up. And because I think I'd panicked. I'd heard a whisper or something that the monorails were going to be down. And I'm like, you know what? I did not book a monorail resort for this monorail to Epcot to be down all week long. Like, I don't know. I kind of went there. I don't know. I think I was just kind of stressed at this point. So I go up and I'm like, is the monorail going to be back up? What do we need to do? Because we had some plans that day, and I needed those, kind of part of my timing was for the monorails to be working. And I know I shouldn't have done that. I shouldn't have, booked too much. But I like to know ahead of time what we need to plan for. So I went to check, and I told them about the situation this morning. The monorail wasn't working. We were kind of later than expected. And, I didn't go with really too high of expectations other than learning if we need to take a bus. And they ended up giving us a few anytime fast passes to use on several of the rides. Now, I don't think we could use it on Frozen Ever After, but we could use it on any of the other rides at Epcot. And that definitely made me happy because we had planned to be at Epcot right at rope drop, right when it opens, so that we could have gotten first in line. And with the bus situation, monorail situation, which really isn't their fault, we missed that opportunity, and they still compensated us for it, and they didn't have to. I'm not entitled to that, and I don't feel entitled to that. But that was so nice that it definitely did help with some of my stress, because I really wanted to go on Soarin'. My kids love it, and with our touring plan, I was kind of worried we may not get to it later in the trip, and it's an important ride for us. So it really made us feel better, and it didn't dampen our spirits anymore, and the frustration of riding the bus kind of went away. We did ride a few other rides. We had a few fast passes. The one we were most excited to ride with my son was the Frozen Ever After ride. This is the Frozen themed ride. He is a big Frozen fan. He is 2 years old, and he loves Frozen. So we went on the ride, and of course he loved it. It was great. My middle daughter was a little scared because she remembers there's kind of an intense scene with a kind of a snow monster thing, marshmallow. Little kids get a little freaked out by this, just warn them, and they do have a little bit of a dip. It's not a huge dip. Obviously, it's not something they need a height requirement. I mean, kids of any age can literally go on this ride, but it's great. I love that ride. It always has a huge line, so it's one of those you're going to want to get a fast pass for if you can, but it's not mandatory you get a fast pass for there. We rode Spaceship Earth, which if you're a history buff, you're kind of nerdy like me, you'll love this ride probably more than your kids will or other thrill seekers. Spaceship Earth is inside the Epcot ball. It's pretty cool. They also have a ride called Mission Space. And when I was younger, I think it started off as Mission to Mars. This is that ride that kind of looks like a planet close to Test Track. And it's one where you get really strapped in and they spin you super fast to give you the feeling of the zero gravity, like going up in space. And it's actually the one that makes people sick, and people with heart conditions have been known to pass away from riding this. So do not get on this ride if you have a heart condition. I mean, there's huge warnings at this point, but it's one of those that is known to make people super sick. They do have a what I would call like a weenie version, which is what we did. We did the green version. We didn't do the full orange mission. We did the green version, which is supposed to be less intense. It's more of a simulator ride at that point. However, that was a one and done for me. My middle daughter, even though she was big enough, she was so freaked out by it. I mean, she was so scared. No matter how many times I told her we weren't actually in a spaceship going to space or flying around the country, she wasn't having any of it. Plus, you get strapped in hardcore. Like, you are in a pod with just a few seats, and you are in. I mean, and if you're claustrophobic, you don't want to do this ride, because you're not getting out. I mean, unless they let you out, there's no way getting out of this. You are, like, strapped down from the top. You have, like, shoulder restraints, things like that. There's no getting out, and you're in this teeny tiny pod, so if something goes wrong, you are stuck. And I didn't really like that feeling. I'm not one to get too agoraphobic or claustrophobic, but even I felt a little iffy in this. And plus, I couldn't really enjoy the ride at all because my middle daughter was freaking out and crying the whole time. Me and my other daughter, my older daughter, were fine. We could have done it probably again, and it's kind of a blow-away ride. It's nothing fantastic. It's not as good of a simulator as all the other rides at Disney, but it was fun. We ended up getting some snacks. One thing I'll tell everybody, and it's something we did too, is just keep your kids hydrated. We always have a cooler because we have our stroller, which we keep it stocked full of Gatorade, juices, and water. We keep water, but our kids will drink the sweet stuff a lot faster. Obviously, they're kids. They don't want to drink water. So if you want to keep them hydrated, bribe them with sweeter drinks. Gatorade, Powerade, things like that is good. We are very liberal with slushies, frozen drinks, and things like that during the summer when we are outside because it gets so hot, and we want to make sure nobody gets dehydrated because you can get dehydrated really fast, and without knowing it, the heat gets very dangerous at this time of year. And so it is so important that you take breaks, you take it easy, get in the shade a little bit, and keep everybody hydrated, including yourself. You don't always feel thirsty when you're becoming dehydrated. You don't know that you're getting dehydrated. So we made a big point we got like a frozen slushie, and we also got the Gatorades out periodically through our little trip. So we headed towards France for lunch, and I love going to Epcot and eating around the world. We went to the France Pavilion, and the best place, one of the best lunch spots is, I don't know how to pronounce this correctly, Les Halles. And I took a few years of French, and I'm not going to try to butcher that in French, but it is the quick service place in France. And it's like a gift shop. At first you walk in, it seems like a gift shop, but in the back there's a bakery and there's lots of food. And it's not just bakery, it's not just baked sweet stuff. There are tons of soup, sandwiches, quiche, croissants, savory options. It is magnificent. I haven't had anything bad there yet. All the food is delicious. So for this time for lunch, I knew I needed to get the ham and cheese things. Anything that has ham and cheese in the France Pavilion is going to taste like magic. So even what you would think is just a boring, cold ham and cheese sandwich, they put some magic on that. Y'all, it tastes so good. Yes, a plain ham and cheese sandwich tastes that good in France that I would buy it again. I bought it last year, bought it again. It was on my must-do eats. But the favorite ham and cheese item there is the ham and cheese croissant, which they'll warm up for you. It is really delicious. I also had it's like a tomato bread, something. It's like a big old slice of delicious French bread that is topped with like a thin layer of tomato paste or something with some great seasoning. They have cheese just melted over, and they have like a big old slab of goat cheese in the middle, which makes it even more delicious. I also tried the lobster bisque there because you can get a little cup of that to go. And overall, our lunch was fabulous. It was amazing. We just split it all, and it was so good. After lunch, we went to, there's a little ice cream shop there in the France Pavilion. And it's like Artisans de Glace or something like that. And we keep hearing about these ice cream sandwiches that are made with this brioche French bread. And it's filled with, whatever ice cream and whatever sauce you want. And they press it in this hot press, kind of like like a waffle iron. So they press it down to give the ice cream sandwich, it's warm on the outside and very cold on the inside. And I'd heard great things about it. I heard I must have it. And I took my first bite, and I wasn't really that impressed. It just seemed like the bread was just kind of soft. It was kind of warm. I kind of wanted a crunchier texture. And so I wasn't really impressed with the first bite. But then it sat with me for a minute. And I realized this bread was very delicious. The bread itself is very buttery, okay? So I'm getting this warm buttery bread with this ice cream, and I don't know what it was, but at some point it kind of clicked on me. This is amazing. I loved it. I ended up pretty much eating the whole thing. My kids did eat it. I got it. I said I got it for them, and then I got it for me, and I ended up eating it, and then I felt bad, so I had to get my kids a little scoop of something. Well, their ice cream there is fine. It's nothing to write home about. I prefer Ample Hills, but my kids did get a scoop of ice cream. It's pretty pricey scoop, but my ice cream sandwich thing was definitely really good. It's worth it. It tastes a little different than you think, but overall, I would get this again for sure. At this point in the day, it is after lunch. It is getting hot, and the roads are getting a little more crowded with people. It was definitely time to head back to the hotel. We never stay in the parks in the heat of the day, or if we do, we try to avoid it pretty much all the time, and we always have, and this is the way to do it if you want to avoid the heat and kind of the dangerous heat. And heat just makes everybody cranky and miserable, and you're sweaty and you're nasty. So this was time to head back. And we did. We just went back to the Grand Floridian. I forgot to mention earlier, though, while we were walking to the France Pavilion, I forgot to mention that we stopped at a few of the little booths, because at this point there was a flower and garden show going on at Epcot, and they have different booths with different sorts of food. So I'm sitting here, taking pictures of various menus and little booths, and they happen to have this little booth that just sells drinks. And they had this beer flight with different types of, I think, craft beers. And they also had this stuff called Imagination Pink Lemonade. And it was like $5 for it, but you could spruce up that Imagination Pink Lemonade with some old smoky blackberry moonshine for a little bit extra, and that's what we did. We got that Imagination Pink Lemonade with the old smoky blackberry moonshine, and this drink was amazing. And I'm not a drinker. Those who know me know I don't drink. At least I don't drink anymore. But I loved this drink. My husband, I think, drank most of it, but I took several sips, and it was delicious and refreshing. And y'all, if I was in college, this would have been a dangerous drink. It'd be one of those. After napping at the hotel for a little while, we went back to Epcot that evening to explore more of all of Epcot because we seem so rushed and limited. We have these huge plans, we're going to do this and that and this and that at Epcot during the day, but that's just, in reality, that's not how it works, especially when you have a kid and your parents swapping. You go a lot slower, so you don't get done with as much. So we ended up going back to Epcot. I don't think we had any fast passes except that special anytime fast pass that we'd had from earlier. We ended up going on Soarin', which is nice. We stopped and looked around at a few different places. I went to the Germany pavilion there, and I don't know if it was this night or the next time that we came to Epcot, but in the evening, it was just a beautiful setting. I go in the Germany pavilion. They have this store called Caramel Couche or something. I don't know how to say it, but it's a caramel store, and it is known for their caramel treats. One of the best things I get there every time I go is this caramel butter bar. So my intentions were to get a caramel butter bar, and it was delicious, y'all. It was so good. I saved it for that evening, and it was so yummy. We ended up coming back to Caramel Couche at a later time, and I'll probably talk about that a little bit later. But so this evening, we didn't have a lot of time. We ate some things right before the fireworks. We went to different stands to try some different things. We tried some spicier Mexican stuff, and then we tried some like jerk chicken. It was all really good. We went to the Grand Fiesta Tour, I think that's what it's called. It is a little ride inside the Mexican pavilion, and it's a little boat ride with Donald Duck and his friends. It's kind of like Small World, but it's cute. There's never any line, and my kids really enjoy it. We were going to stay at Epcot a little bit longer, I believe, today, because this night I believe they had the extra magic hours. So the park may have closed at 9, but it stayed open for 11 for those that are staying at Disney World resorts. So we were going to stick around for a little while. We ended up going to ride Test Track right after the fireworks, and we still had our fast passes from earlier. Well, we didn't realize this, but it turns out, once the official park closes, if you have any old fast passes, even if they're special anytime fast passes, you can't use them during extra magic hours because all the other park guests are leaving, and so any other fast passes you have, you just can't use. So we lost that fast pass, and we essentially wasted it. We didn't have time to use it anyway because we didn't get to the park super early. We didn't get there at 4 in the evening, and we went back. I mean, it was close. It was definitely closer to like 6 in the evening, so it's not like we had a ton of time to use it anyway. We still ended up going on Test Track. We checked out Nemo and the aquarium. I think the kids went back to Soarin', and we ended up having a very nice evening. I love Epcot. I love it at night. I love all the Disney parks at night. I think that's going to be a key theme, is that it's magical during the day, but something about night at these parks is even better, because I'm not constantly worried about sunburns or the heat, and reapplying sunscreen and making sure I'm drinking water. But there's something about the Disney parks at night that are just magical. Epcot, no exception. And we headed back, and it was a wonderful Epcot day. And the next day we had some other plans, and we needed to get everybody in bed. But it just was a great first theme park day for us, because even though we'd been at Disney World for several days at this point, this is our actual first day in the parks, and it went very well. A few hiccups, but nothing terrible. And that's something to really keep in mind. I know I've told you guys before, but you got to expect that there's going to be some hiccups. There's going to be some things that don't go to plan. Your carefully crafted plans will go to heck. It will be ruined. And so it's really important to keep a flexible attitude. You can be disappointed, but just remember there's a million other things to do. At any point, if your ride that you want to ride desperately breaks down, it's okay. There's 20 other things you can do. A lot of these aren't rides either. There's so much to do at all these parks that do not involve stepping foot inside a ride vehicle. There are shows, there are little performers, there are different stores to go in. The Cool Spot place, that taste test place where you get to taste test all those Coke products, that's still there for now. I think it's about to close down, but it's still there. There's tons of different things to do. So, as usual, be flexible. Things will go wrong, just like for us, our first day with that not being able to use our fast pass, which is our bad. We didn't know, and the monorail breaking down. So there's a few things that can go wrong, and that's okay. On next episodes, I'm going to be going through the rest of our trip, and I'm excited to go over the rest of the details of our trip. I think these days will go a little bit faster since I don't have to review the hotels in depth, and I'll just get to go over a lot of our favorites, our highlights, what we ate, what we liked, what we're going to do again, and also what we'll avoid. I am looking forward to a show either not next time, but maybe the time after that, where I'll go over really what we've learned and what we love and definitely what we will avoid for next time. So just adding to my tip sheets. I hope you enjoyed this episode, and I hope you learned a little bit more about Grand Floridian, Epcot, and other Disney things. Please check us out on Facebook, our Facebook page. It's changed a little bit, like I mentioned last time. It is now Roadtrip WDW on Facebook. Please give us any sort of comments, give us a like, give us a favorable review on iTunes. I don't know. Be nice to us. Check us out. Give us some constructive feedback. We love to hear from people. We love it when people ask us questions or we have any sort of comments. I don't know why. It just makes us so happy, but we really like interacting with you guys. So check us out on social media. If you are planning a trip to Branson, check out my Branson podcast. That is Road Trip Branson, and the Branson Facebook page is obviously Road Trip Branson. So thank you, road trippers, for tuning in. See you real soon.